Hey, it's Nick the Brahmin.
And it's Phil the Dullet,
Oh shit.
the untouchable.
That's wild. Yeah, we were just having a conversation of that whole system in India.
Why do you get to be the Brahmin?
Oh, I'm clearly,
Oh, because you're
clearly,
you're the
holy the now.
You've achieved enlightenment.
I wonder if that's a thing, right? Like if you are like spiritually, if you can measure a person's like how spiritual a person is as a metric.
Quantitative?
I think you can, right?
Well, you were the closest one to a monk. But between the two of us, is there a way you can quantitatively?
Well, I feel like you can arbitrarily make it anything quantitative, right? It's its own game.
Yeah, but how do you make things that are, in my mind, classically quantitative, like religion or spirituality or anything of those things?
Yeah, but there's a scoring metric on all those things, right? How spiritual you are, right? Like people play games. A game is a measurement or a comparison of measurements of some arbitrary value.
Comparison, yeah. Well, but it's not
arbitrary. Yes, it is. Like if you play a video game, right? That's some bullshit metric that the developer created.
What about basketball? The ball goes
Same
through
thing.
the hoop. The ball goes through the hoop. That's not arbitrary.
No, but that's arbitrary value to how much points this thing is.
Oh, how much points it is. But people have agreed upon that it's 2 points.
Right, but you're playing a game where some arbitrary thing is created, arbitrary system is created.
Yes, that's true. Okay, fine.
About a person's athletic ability.
Yes.
Or, proficiency.
Yes.
Right? So it's just, all of that's just a game. Even the caste system as well as the spirituality.
Yeah.
It's some arbitrary game that a person created to score.
Okay, fine. But at least the basket thing gives you something to measure.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you can measure. If you took like two priests, how do you measure which one's closer to God? How many kids he's
I'm assuming there are certain metrics, right? The Pope,
but like what though?
No, but the Pope, right?
Yeah,
the Pope is greater than the Cardinal. Cardinal over, right? Like it's a hierarchy of things.
I agree, there's a hierarchy, but it's a bullshit hierarchy because there's nothing in the.
That's what I'm saying. It's arbitrary value.
But I said at least in the basketball you can measure something goes through a hoop. What can you measure?
It's bullshit if you think like, okay, this guy scored 30 points, therefore he's a better basketball player.
I agree. That's
right.
Okay, but we're talking about apples and oranges now. All I'm saying is at least basketball has a goal. Like, so football has those uprights. Hockey has a net, right? What does Catholicism have to say that one priest is better than another outside of kids? I
mean, like, cream pieing in Jesus is a score. I give that a 0.5 plus 5.
Got it.
Yeah.
The spider, in the South Field, remember the giant spider?
Yeah. No, there's some arbitrary value to anything, right? It's whatever game you make, and then you have a scoring system based on it. And some, and that's how ESPN works. I would argue Catholic Church is the ESPN of Christianity.
Catholic Church, ESPN of Christianity. Why?
They just bullshit things, talk about things. Who's the greatest? Who's the greatest?
I don't think. I think that like the Pentecostals and shit are the ones that like dance with snakes and like don't take medications, and to me those are the ones that are. I will say that the Catholics are more likely to create like a TV channel, right? Because they're more organized.
They created saints and shit, and like that's ESPN saying, "Oh, this is one of the greatest Christians ever."
Right. No.
Right.
Yes. That's
fucking,
true.
This is LeBron James. This is he's top 5. Like,
I see what you're saying.
What's top 5 mean? Yeah, you have this.
The whole thing with Saints is basically what you're like. The whole thing with Saints is saying like, who's the Michael Jordan? Who's the
How many Christianity finals did he win?
Yeah.
He's 6-0. Yeah.
How many miracles happen in his name?
Yeah, he's 6-0 in miracles.
I just thought this. He's got like they have like points and assists. So he's got like 10 children and 5
player efficiency ratings, and like they have bullshit metrics that people create. Yeah, I think it's all some arbitrary game that people make, and I guess that's mostly life, right? Entertainment.
Yeah,
it's some arbitrary bullshit that you create. Like, oh, these are my top 5 favorite, movies or whatever, and it's just fun debating it because that's what pretty much life is like. They just have fun sticking with your own system and then competing against systems. Right? As if yours is more closer to truth when there's not even a thing. When truth is just chaos, like this podcast is about.
Yeah. It's just crazy thinking how many people in human history had a fucked up existence because of some arbitrary thing that was in place.
Yeah. Like we were talking about the Dalits, right?
Yeah.
Like the untouchables of India. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like how people literally can't go into their houses.
They can't. So yeah, one of our friends was saying that like he doesn't do this, but he knows people who, let's say one of these untouchables goes into your house and like, drinks out of your cup. Well, you have to like throw that cup away or clean it immediately or like.
Right. Or wash your whole house.
Yeah, wash your whole house. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah, the cultural things that are attached to, because your parents fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. It's an arbitrary value, right? Arbitrary game that people played. And it has huge repercussions on your birth. It's wild.
Where does that come from? I know it comes from religion, but where does that like hate, like I consider it's hatred, right? Where does it come from in the human condition to put people in boxes that look the same as you, right? I could vaguely understand putting people in boxes based upon skin color or.
You can understand it. I wouldn't say understand it more, but you can make the generalizations made there are more accessible to
the human
mind than a person's like look the same, they do the same shit, they eat the same shit, but they were just born into a different caste, right?
Right.
Like you never know until you hear their last name or you know what the parents do or something, right?
It's like you meet some girl and you're like drive like I'll just say like 100 years ago in India, you meet some girl, you're like, damn, this girl's hot, dude. You're like going on dates, you're at the movie theater,
yeah, she's nice.
And then you're like, hey,
nice
baby,
lady.
What's your last name? And she's like, I don't know what the fuck last name, right? And then you're like, fucking bitch. You know what I mean? Like literally just stop dating her and
just spit on her, like just treat her like shit, like because it's okay to at the time. Like it's crazy. Yeah, some arbitrary game. We play arbitrary games. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. I mean, what's your top favorite film?
Oh my God, dude, that's hard.
Well, you say The Shining is one of your favorites, right?
One of my favorites, yes.
Yeah, but the arbitrary system. Arbitrary system.
Oh, yeah. Personal opinion is the king of arbitrary.
Yeah, but imagine that personal opinion as like, de facto, like, because these start from people, right?
Yeah, some idiot was like, you know what we should do? We should just, based upon something that we can never measure,
right?
Based upon like karmic bullshit that we think exists, we're going to like assign people to certain things. And yeah, it's just fucking crazy, man.
But I think it comes from like, I don't think it comes naturally from human minds. I think it's a cultural thing, of course, right?
Where does the culture come from? Human minds.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a natural thing to think about. Because it's like, what is it? Honeybees, right? Mm-hmm. They have a certain system in place where it's like a certain percentage of like workers and people that, people that take care of the hives and like the queen and whatnot, right? It's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right? And you maintain the hierarchy based on this weird biological thing to have the thing going.
Yeah, it's a biological environmental control system, yeah.
Right. And humans don't have that. I think humans break out of that actually quite easily because the human mind has such mobility compared to like bees, right? And so that mobility means it's hard to keep a society structured if you're an authoritarian.
That's true.
So if you create a culture where it is hierarchical, then you can maintain the system, just like bees. I don't think it's human to think that, I'm this, therefore, I can only clean toilets or whatever, right?
So why do you think that is? Do you think it exists because people with the means to have more want to keep more? There's only enough for everyone. There's not right. If there's only enough resources, if everyone had the same amount of resources, you wouldn't have some people having it better than others. So what you're saying is some people got a taste of what it's like to have a bunch of shit. They didn't want to give it up. So they developed a way to control, and this happens across all cultures. Right. You develop a way to have a pyramid where you have a few amount of people at the top.
Now the question is the pyramid justified? Is a pyramid
biologically? Like, what do you mean? Well, the bottom part of the pyramid is going to keep having sex and keep making more workers for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure. Biologically, it makes sense. I think.
Right.
Like nothing violates. Like you're not dropping the population size. You're not like making it harder for your species to live by doing that.
So I guess the question is the cultural hierarchy that we've created as human from our human brains, this arbitrary system, closely resemble what happens in actual biology.
Oh, no. So most species are communist, right?
They're just it's
for the most part. Now the only thing that changes that, and you could say this is part of it's dangerous to move this into the human realm, but you could say that some individuals in that population have way better genes than other individuals and they have more children. But technically, unless there's some huge leap in like mental ability, most animals are living in the same type of environment as every other animal, and they're striving to eat, and they're, there's no hoarding of resources as an animal, right? Mostly,
yeah.
You have squirrels and shit who actually do literally hoard resources, but that's kind of rare.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that intelligence should be the way the pyramid should be structured, right?
Right, because I don't think it is. I think the same variation in intelligence exists at every level of that ladder. Right.
Yeah. I think if there is to be a pyramid, what would be the proper pyramid for humanity? I don't know. But I mean, I think that's what the designs of all these different kinds of governments are, right? From democracies to authoritarian ones to, like dictatorships, right? To, socialists.
Yeah.
It's some arbitrary system that we try out with applied into, people, a bunch of people, and then see what happens. It's an experiment.
Yeah, it's all an experiment. And the reason why communism doesn't work is because most people are fucking selfish and they don't want to be the same as everyone else, right? Like on paper, everyone says, this is a meme, on paper communism works, because it does. If everyone doesn't have self-interest and is okay with the same car and the same, it'll work.
I think it's not about, I think it's about more, it's people who want to.
Playing field's not even in a genetic. It's hard to say. The playing field isn't even because of genetics. You have people that are way better at certain things than other people.
So you're saying communism betrays that kind of motif, right?
Yes.
The biological motif that there is huge variance in capability and meritocracy should be favored. Some meritocracy-based society.
I'm not saying it should be favored. I think that's the only thing that can exist in human populations. I don't think we're built for communism.
Mm-hmm.
The way that bees are,
the way the bees are, right? The way that bees are, like you sacrifice your status.
Bees are you literally sacrifice your ability to mate. Mm-hmm. Now it goes against what I said about animals, how they're all communistic, but the difference is that animals don't have luxury; they have mating. So their luxury is mating. So they don't get a Tesla and a nice car and a new purse and a whatever. They get children. That's their gift, right?
Yeah.
So there is a pyramid in the animal kingdom. It just doesn't look like that to us because they don't get anything extra. They just get more children, right? They get more gene transfer.
That's true. The gene transfer, their mating is their merit, right? Whereas humans, it's not so clear that is the case, right?
I don't think communism could ever exist because we're not built that. We're not built. If we were all clones, each of us had the same amount of the same capabilities in anything, in all the things, then it works because no one's better than anyone else. The sad truth is that people are better than other people in certain aspects of life. Now that could come from purely genetic basis, or that could come from environment, or that come from just like the roll of the dice. You got a better situation than someone else.
Right. It's interesting that where is the Nash equilibrium for a society, right? Is it better to sacrifice as a whole for the betterment of society, or is it better to have people to not share and dial in on their own self-interests to pursue the betterment of society, right? Because I would argue that there could be a weird balance of like, hey, I want to be as selfish as possible. I want to build a company, like fuck everyone else, like let's build something crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then that's your own worth. But like you're destroying, you might, hurt people. You might steal cobalt. You might, fuck other people, right?
Yeah.
Around the world just for your own betterment.
Yeah.
But then you create, I don't know, like a Tesla or something.
Tesla, right. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know where that equilibrium, and I think everyone has their own sensibility, their own arbitrary game of what that is.
Well, I mean, we learned today that the Kama Sutra had all kinds of animals in there, dude.
Yeah, so the way it was described, like long time ago, India was very liberal. Like you can't even imagine.
Like
now,
Roman, right? Like almost like Roman times.
Yeah, it was this kind of Roman times, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had temples of like just the smuttiest shit imaginable, like, you know, like anime hentai shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the outside of these temples were like hentai, like, you know, the fucking horses and
goats and all kinds of shit,
cuckolding and a bunch of crazy shit, right? But it's because that's the worldly world. That's the state of what the world is. You enter the temple, all that's gone. That's behind you, and like you're in a place of you're in a certain state,
reverence.
But then, like, outside is a guy fucking a goat.
There's a guy fucking a donkey outside. The poor fucking donkey, dude.
No, the donkey might be enjoying it. You don't know. It's
true, I don't know.
We don't know if the donkey experiences
pleasure,
just like Ben Shapiro's wife.
Of course she does. What are you talking about?
Of course she has. Him fucking the donkey.
I have 4 children.
I have 4 children with these goats. Of course he's experiencing. He's fucking a male goat.
Oh, man, that's good.
That's true. All right, man.
Well, yep. Good one.
All right. See ya.
Talk to you.